In these crazy times we're in today, folks, let me ask you a question. Have you ever considered the difference between cleaning and disinfecting? Maybe these days you have, but be honest. 6 months ago, did you ever think there was a difference between the two? Well, guess what? There is. Nobody knows that better than our next guest here on All In with Brian Weatherford. His name is Taj Jefferson. Check out the name of his company, Alternate Solutions to Cleaning. Taj, welcome to the show today, sir. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here with me. So let me back up here just a second. Before you came on board with your company that you're with today, Alternative Solutions to Cleaning, what's your background? What were you doing prior to getting into this?
So prior to this, I was spent the majority of my time really in supply chain manufacturing. So that gave me a pretty good insight on the impact of what the sick day did to the average workforce. So I knew firsthand that when people weren't there and other people had to step in, there's going to be a direct hit on revenue, there's going to be a direct hit on sales, there's definitely going to be a direct hit on quality. And I always wondered if there was a better way to kind of address some of those concerns. So my undergraduate degree is actually in healthcare administration. I kind of came full circle when I realized that I had put some of that, what I'd learned in my undergrad, to use in terms of finding some better solutions in terms of being able to keep the people that I care about at home and at work a little bit safer, and being able to work and walk into a clean environment, which is something that we all deserve.
It's absolutely something we all deserve, both in our personal lives and certainly in our professional lives as well. Whether it's there to take care of our staff or take care of our customers, or both, totally right there with you. And I also totally get it, because I've seen it firsthand during my professional career, the impact of just sick days. And you're exactly right. I mean, it trickle-down effect is huge. You know, if you have to shift people around for any length of time or retrain people, or it just gums up the whole process. So why not try to keep everybody as healthy as possible any way you can? All right, coming on up here where we are today, Taj, when did you get started with this business? When did it become a business?
It started in August of 2019, and I was kind of in the manufacturing arena still, but that's when I realized there was definitely kind of a void in terms of disinfecting solutions, especially ones that are going to be a little bit more green friendly. So kind of the typical traditional approach is kind of a nuclear scorched earth. I'm going to go in, and you kind of think of the old bleach model. I'm going to spray everything down with bleach, and heaven help anything that's left standing. So I wanted to look for alternatives to that would actually kind of promote a healthier environment versus doing the scorched earth approach. And kind of the pandemic kind of accelerated my timetable a little bit, as you may imagine, but definitely it was a good way to kind of kick the tires and understand that there's absolutely a need for this.
You know, there absolutely is. I totally get your scorched earth story. An analogy of that would be the football coaches who tell the guys, just tackle everybody, one of them's going to have the ball. So it's kind of the same thing. So going the green approach is great. And I'm also intrigued by the fact that you got into this a year ago. You got into this to August before people really jumped into the fact that, yeah, it's not just clean, it's disinfecting. So talk to me about the fact, since you've been doing this for a year already, and it's so new to a lot of us in a lot of ways, the big differences between, there's a gap between just cleaning and disinfecting. Expand on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So our organization is actually a member of ISSA, and ISSA also has a division called GBAC, which is the Global Biorisk Advisory Council. So these are some of the foremost experts, and they put together some pretty comprehensive training platforms in terms of making sure that people understand the simple facts of what cleaning is versus disinfecting. So cleaning, in a nutshell, is just removing soils, so visible soils typically, versus disinfecting. You're actually actively removing pathogens from the surface. So I'll still never forget one of the training sessions they put me through. The moderator made the point that on the tip of a pen, almost 1 million pathogens can survive. So the difference between disinfecting becomes pretty important fairly quickly, knowing that disinfecting is 99.9999% effective, which takes that pathogens from 1 million down to 10. So you want to make sure you understand the difference pretty quickly.
I got to say that certainly sums it up rather quickly for me. I'm not a big numbers guy, but I can certainly understand those numbers. Now, what I don't understand is this. Not only do you use different solutions for what you do with the disinfecting versus cleaning, but a big thing to make the impact is the equipment you use. Let's go into the equipment. When you're going through a disinfecting process, you're not squirting something on a rag and rubbing it in. Exactly what is it you're doing?
Very good observation. One of the things that we learned fairly quickly is kind of your traditional housekeeper. And again, this is not a knock on them. They're going to clean what they can see. In all actuality, UV technology, which is also getting a lot of hype these days, similar scenario, that light beam is only going to touch what it can see. It's not going to bend around a corner. It's not going to clean up underneath my desk. That being said, electrostatics will, because it's going to charge the solution that you use and help it kind of wrap around and envelop the surface. So we use electrostatic sprayers. We have handhelds, we have backpack sprayers, and we found that that's going to provide a better level of security, a better level of cleaning to ensure that even if we can't see it, we know the solution's still going to wrap around all of the surface and make sure that it's going to provide that protection that it needs to.
So when you do your job, and you do it very well, I'm sure, how long does it last? I mean, is this a process I need to do weekly, monthly? What are we looking at? How long does this stuff wrap around and stay put to keep me safe?
Excellent question. A lot of that is going to depend on the solution that you're using. So in the day and age of COVID, typically what people are asking for is a solutions that is on the EPA list. And a lot of those solutions up until very recently were more the traditional scorched earth. Only within the last week have they approved a antimicrobial or a probiotic solution to be used, and that was basically done under an emergency declaration. So there's only one, as of this point, probiotic solution that allows it to be used as a EPA grade in disinfectant. So what that means is that one probiotic solution can last on a surface approximately 7 days and provide 7 days worth of protection. If you look at some of the traditional cleaners and disinfectants, those are going to be around 1 to 2 days. Typically around that second day, that viral load is going to build to a number where it's going to be pretty nasty to deal with. So you typically want to try and knock it down at a minimum every 2 days, or with a probiotic, you can last a week, 7 to 10 days.
You know, the other thing I like about you guys, I only have about a minute left, but I got to get into this. You've been doing this for a year, long before COVID even started. You had a great head start, but you didn't stop there. Recently, you announced a partnership with Metascreen, of all things. Tell me about Metascreen, the partnership. Why did you do it? What do they do? You have a minute. Go.
Absolutely. So Metascreen is a virtual triage solution. And essentially the reason that caused us to look into that is because of the simple fact that a lot of the times we're getting that lagging indicator. Somebody's already sick or they have a potential exposure and now they're calling us, versus Metascreen is getting people out in front, giving them the opportunity to screen in advance of something going wrong so that there's a trend to see where that person's health is in relation to your health status.
Good to know. Well, thank you very much. We're done. I appreciate everything you're doing, everything you've done, and everything you will do for all of us who need it so desperately. Taj, thanks for coming all in. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.